Manchester United have finally recorded a victory in the Europa League this season and our first win in Europe in over a year, with victory over PAOK at Old Trafford last night. And right now we're going to look at the good, the bad, and the awful. Starting with the good. And there's only one place to start, and that's Ahmad. He was our most consistent and most threatening player last night. Not just, well, throughout the whole game, really. Not just in the second half for the goals, but even in the first half, he was most of our attack and play was coming from him. Most of our big opportunities, and he arguably should have had a penalty in that first half as well. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. But yeah, look, I mean, he had a fantastic game last night. I mean, many fans were calling for him to be starting on that right wing ahead of Rashford, who, as we know, is obviously better on the left. And obviously, we finally got to see him start the game last night. Rude obviously showing a bit of faith in him, which is good to see. He's trying to bring some of the younger players into the first team in his short time as interim manager. So look, it was good to see. But I mean, even when we're during the watch along last night, we were even saying, a couple of myself and a couple of people in the chat were kind of not not criticizing Ahmad, but kind of being more critical that some of his play could have been slightly better, so, just to be more kind of clinical. But obviously, then early in the second half, he stepped up and he got the goal with a fantastic header, and kind of shut us all up really. And then I was even kind of saying to myself, and after that just his stature is like we all know he's a very small player, but I was kind of saying, look, if he over the next year or two, if he kind of bulked up a bit and kind of gained a bit of upper body strength, it would definitely help him going forward and developing as a top player. And then when he scored that second goal, he kind of shut me up as well, because like, to nick the ball off the defender, and not just that, but to actually get beyond him and out muscle him, and to get away from him. He definitely has some decent upper body strength, because that defender he was up against was at least 3 foot taller than him. So I mean, it was definitely very, very positive from Ahmad, and it was a fantastic finish. Look, I know it took a slight deflection off the defender, which took it further away from the keeper, but yeah, it was a fantastic goal for Ahmad. Great for his confidence. And I seen his interview after the game. He sounded very humble. I think a lot of the media were trying to play on the fact that Ten Hag wouldn't play him, and that he's finally shown now what he could have been able to do. But he kind of played that down, which is good to see. He didn't get carried away with himself, kept his feet on the ground. So could develop into a top player. Just needs the right coach, and I think he could very well come into his own. I think with when Amaram comes in with the system that he plays, if he plays this 3-4-3 system that he's currently playing in sport, and look, there's no guarantee that's going to happen, but if he does, Ahmad has a very, very good chance of nailing down one of those two number 10 spots. And I think that's probably where he'll likely shine more so than out on that right wing. But yeah, definitely a lot of positive. Look, I think we have to give a shout out to the defence as well. They didn't have too much to do, but I thought Lindelof was okay. Especially after last weekend, he wasn't. He hasn't been great the last couple of games he's featured, but he was decent enough. He dealt with what he had to deal with. I think, like, PAOK only had really one really good chance in the second half at 1-0, which they should have taken. But yeah, look, I mean, it's a clean sheet. It's 3 points on the board. There's not many positives, but there's a few. Obviously, our first win in over a year. Hopefully now it's the start. We can kick on and start getting more victories. Now on to the bad. I think for me, it's that first half performance. We were just so flat, real, just poor quality overall. Like we created so many opportunities to get in on goal, and just that final bit of quality was lacking. With the final pass or the final ball into the box was overall it was just pretty poor. Like we dominated possession, dominated the first half in large parts, but like you're playing at home against, let's be honest, an inferior team. We should be steamrolling them, and we just lacked any kind of quality in that final third. The quality needs to improve massively, or we're going to struggle against better teams. Like we got away with it last night because we're playing an inferior team, but if we do something similar if we come up against a City, a Liverpool who are in great form, if we get a bigger team in Europe, if we progress beyond this league table, are we're going to struggle, and we're going to pay the price. So I think Highland as well looked like a really frustrated player coming off when he came off late in that second half. Apart from the half decent header that he had in the first half, I don't remember him being on the ball all that much. I definitely don't remember the commentators mentioning his name too often either. So, like, if he's the main striker at United at the moment, and if he's not even getting chances, then he's not going to be the top striker that we all think he's going to be. Now, look, he's arguably going to benefit the most from Amarim when he comes in, if he employs that same system. Like Amarim's system is all about getting the ball to the striker as quickly as possible, and like Gorkez, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's last season he scored 46 goals, I think, and the next best player at Sporting scored 25, and that was the backup striker. So that system is all about getting the ball to the attacker, and the attacker is the one that scores. So I think he potentially will benefit the most. Now, look, he will have to improve certain aspects of his game as well. I mean, at times he's potentially making the wrong type of run, and he's not getting into the space, not creating enough space for himself to be able to receive the ball. So he'll need to improve that side of it. And look, I think if Rude stays on under Amarim, he could benefit from that as well. But look, it's that decision has yet to be made and won't probably be made for another couple of weeks. But yeah, we definitely need to see some massive improvements again. Look, we thought with Rude coming in when Ten Hag finally left, we thought we might see some some improvements, but at times in that game last night, we still saw the same United side under Ten Hag, just very wasteful and just poor quality overall. And then on to the awful, and I think there's not too much that we can be overly critical of, but for me to put in this section is that penalty decision in the first half on Ahmad. I mean, how the referee hasn't given that. One, how the referee hasn't given it as a penalty, because for me it was a stonewall penalty. Ahmad cuts inside, gets past the defender. Defender sticks his leg out kind of in front of Ahmad trying to get the ball, gets nowhere near the ball and takes Ahmad down right on the byline. And VAR looked at it, and VAR didn't overturn it. I don't know what replay they were looking at, because for me, as I said, it was an absolute stonewall penalty. And look, there was another penalty shout in the second half when Garnacho was taking down the box just as he was trying to shoot. For me, I thought that was a penalty as well. Obviously, it wasn't as strong of a claim as Ahmad's one, but I thought arguably that was as much a penalty, but like Garnacho was trying to take a shot, defender sticks his leg in. Maybe you could argue Garnacho kicks the defender, but he's only kicked him because he's put his leg in front of the ball and hasn't won the ball and ends up stopping Garnacho from shooting. So, like, for me, the letter of the law, that should be a penalty. But VAR didn't even look at it, which, again, I just don't understand. Like, what is the point of VAR? Um, like, we've seen, especially with the Ahmad one, we've seen penalties given for a lot less. And I think VAR just needs an absolute overhaul at this stage because it's not fit for purpose in its current state because it's too inconsistent. Like VAR was brought in to eliminate human errors on the pitch, but you still have a referee reviewing the footage as VAR. So and he's still making a decision. So you still have that human element in the decision making. So it hasn't eliminated it at all. If anything, it's magnified the human error aspect of it. I think it either needs a massive overhaul or it just needs to be scrapped because in its, as I said, in its current state, it's not, for me, it's not fit for purpose. And overall, I think it's the level of refereeing is just so inconsistent, and that's what any fan would want is just consistency in the decision making. If something is a foul, then it's a foul, but have it across the board. It's just every referee seems to have a different interpretation of what a foul is or what a handball is. And even when a referee is called over to the screen to look at it, the first thing they show him is a still image of the incident. So whether it's studs up on a player, it's the ball is striking the arm, whatever it is, it will always look worse than a still image. Without without showing the build up to that incident, you're not going to have the correct context to make that decision. As soon as a referee walks over and sees the still image, well, sure, oh well, the ball has hit his hand. That's clearly a handball. But yeah, it's just it needs a massive overhaul or just scrapped entirely because it's not fit for purpose. And I could go on and on about VAR, but I think look, I think that's a conversation for another day. But look, I mean, overall, there's there's positives to take. It wasn't a vintage performance by any means last night, but I said it before the game. I think the most important thing was getting the victory, no matter how we did it. And look, we got it. We got 3 points on the board. We're up to 15th, I think, now on the table in the Europa League. We got a clean sheet, so there's definitely positives. But if we want to progress further into this competition, and if we want to put in a serious challenge to win this thing and try and get into the Champions League for next season, which look at the moment is looking like it's our only opportunity to do that. If we want that to happen, then we need massive, massive improvements from all the players. And look, I mean, it'll be interesting to see when Amram comes in. We should see that. Look, we're going to have a different style of play. It's going to take time probably for him to implement that system or any system he tries to implement. It's no guarantee that we're going to play the exact same type of football as Sporting, but yeah, look, I mean that's something to look forward to anyway. I mean, it's if he can hit the ground running, we might be able to salvage something in the Premier League this season and try and push for that top four. Look, it's going to be tricky, but yeah, look, I mean, we look forward now to Rude's last game in charge as interim manager on Sunday against Leicester again. It's not going to be as easy as the Carabao Cup game last week, but it'd be nice for Rude if we get a good performance and get another victory, and it'll give the players a lot of confidence going into the international break. with the new manager coming in. So we will wait and see. But yeah, look, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you happy with the performance last night? Or are you just happy that we got the job done and we got 3 points on the board? Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we will catch you later.